Welcome to Learning with Mo. Well, oftentimes what we want to do is to be able to quickly analyze our data set so that we can answer some basic or key questions about our data. In this case, we have a basic expense report. We're tracking the date. We're tracking several different types of expenses in different offices, and we have our unique amounts here as well. For example, on January 5th, we had an administrative expense in the Midtown office in the amount of $1705.75. Well, what if we wanted to do something like quickly create a chart based on our data? Well, what we can do is press Control Q inside of our data set to pull up the quick analysis tool to see what we can get. So here's tip number one. We're going to go ahead and use the quick analysis tool. I'll click anywhere inside of my data set. And if I press Control Q on my keyboard, I can see I have a little quick analysis tool right down here. I can also right click on my data and I can hover to where it says quick analysis. I'll use this method here. And now what if I want something like a chart? So if I click on charts, well, here's a line chart that represents the transaction by date. So it places it in a timeline format. Here's a clustered column chart. This shows the sum of amount by expense. So based on this chart, we can see that we spent more money on administrative expenses than any other expense. Here's another one, another timeline related chart, and another timeline here as well. Well, what about a table? So if we were to convert this, take a look here, we can see we have different pivot tables that we can use. Here are the amount by expense. So we can actually drop these in. If we were to convert this to a table, this is what it would look like as well. So a really nice way to get some quick analysis on our data. Now we can also select different parts. So what if I just wanted to go ahead and analyze the data in the amount column? I'll go ahead and highlight all of those numbers. And now if I run the quick analysis tool, the very first one is formatting. So this is really conditional formatting. So I can quickly just incorporate some data bars to show me which values stand out versus which values tend to be less. So we can clearly see on row 6, we had a really high expense there. It's really standing out from the others. Also on row 9 for software, we can see that as well. If I click here, it actually applies that conditional formatting for me. And now I can quickly get a nice visual to see which values are standing out. I'll press Control Z to undo that. I'll go ahead and run the quick analysis tool again. So this time, maybe we want something like a color scale. So in this case, the color scale, the green represents the higher values and the red cells represent the lower values as well. So pretty cool. Well, I can also take a look and see which values are greater than the others. If I want to, what are my top 10%? Here are my top 2 expenses, January 5th and January 14th. I'll go ahead and undo that as well. Let's see what else we can do with the quick analysis. I'll go ahead and right click. I'll click here again. And this time I'll head on over to totals. So what I would like is a nice total column on the right. So I want to move over here. And we have the sum, we have the average. Well, what would be nice is to get the percentage of the total. So if I click here, now I can get another column. I could even put a header here if I want to, percent of total. But we can see that the first expense here represents 6.93% of the overall total. As expected, on row 9, another high value represents 7.64% of the actual total as well. So pretty cool. No need to write a formula, no need to add another column. Quick analysis will take care of that for us. Well, let's see what else we can do here. I'll go ahead and right click on quick analysis and I'll go back to totals. I'll move over to the right. Now we have the running total, which is really, really helpful. If I click on running total here, it shows me the running total. It increases as we go through, right? So up until January 17th, the total was 7196.11. By the time we got to February 16th, we can see we had 18,301.32. And then all the way here at the end, the total so far is 24,628.10. So pretty nice tools that we can use. I'll go ahead and press Control Z to undo that. So the quick analysis tool gives us a lot of options. If I want some summaries on the bottom, I can do that as well. I only have one column here with the number, so we don't really get too much detail for the totals on the bottom here. So for example, if I were to drop in the sum, that basically turns on the summary row. And now we can see some numbers down here. I have to change this to the currency format. And there we go. So here's the total for that particular column. So if you have a lot of columns that has numbers in there, you can summarize them, or you can even drop in the average, not just the sum here as well. So pretty nice tools that we can use. One last quick tip. If I were to highlight all of these numbers here as well, it's telling me that the average is 1231.40. We have 20 cells selected. The smallest number is 608.81. The highest is 1882.43. And by the way, the sum is 24,628.10. If you're not seeing these numbers on your status bar, you can turn them on. Just go ahead and right click anywhere on your status bar. You see a long list of options that you can use to customize the status bar. All the way towards the bottom, go ahead and turn these on. As you can see, I have the average, the count, the min, the max, and the sum that's being displayed here as well. I'll go ahead and remove the minimum. And right away, we can see that it's giving us that nice detail here. So the quick analysis tool is a really nice way to quickly take a look at your data. I'll go ahead and insert a chart that I like here. Let's see, this chart shows the sum of amount by expense. I'll go ahead and insert that chart. Here's my pivot table that I can go ahead and build. And here is my chart as well. So pretty cool. So have fun using the quick analysis tool to quickly answer questions about your data.